All right. Good evening, everybody. It is Steve with Real Progressives. It's a real sacrifice, let me tell you, because right now, as we speak, one of the very few vices I allow myself to partake in, the Washington Capitals are playing their first home Stanley Cup Finals game in 20 freaking years. And I am sitting here with a microphone in front of me, getting ready to talk to you all about something I feel is very important. So let's hope the Caps take care of their stuff while I take care of mine. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about why we're here tonight. So we've been getting a lot of pushback from what I would call your typical party first, the styrofoam hat, the pork pie hat, red, white, and blue, flag waving, vote blue sycophants that tend to not really care about any of the issues. They don't really care. They don't really care whether we're telling the truth or not, as long as we just vote blue, no matter who. And of course, for me, that's just a non-starter. I will vote for any progressive that is actually a real progressive. I'm not going to sit there and, sidle up to somebody based on party. But that's not really what the whole thing is about. But it is kind of trying to put into context why certain things we talk about here are important. And, there's a left forum going on right now in New York City. And for those of you who have been watching, there's a lot of platitudes. There's an awful lot of platitudes within the left and within our movement. People saying things, quite frankly, that sound good to the ear, but upon deeper inspection, you realize it's kind of like a road that leads off a cliff. There is no, rejoinder. There is no transition. There is no real, plan to make any of it happen. And for me, as somebody who desperately wants to see, democratic socialism as a mindset become the go-to, I want to be able to see us as a country place people and planet over profit. I want to see our elections fair and just and that represent the people. I want to see politicians that are taking the oath and going into office and are actually serving the people. But when you get down to it, the people themselves have some responsibility in this too. Now, they have definitely stacked the deck against us. The parties have done nothing to help us whatsoever. The actual election system has proven itself to provide a ton of fodder for people that don't believe in our elections to begin with. Money in politics through Citizens United has tainted the very essence of governance. It has made us all look at the obvious things that jump out at us, like things that the average person, Republican or Democrat or independent, would clearly support, but yet don't make it through. And you have to ask yourself, what the hell's going on, right? So you've got all these things going on that just are head scratchers. They don't make sense. And so people start trying to find answers for it, and they go to the left forum and they go places like that, and people spin their best tale. Some of it has got some real merit, and some of it is just sort of like tales from the fire pit. And this is a problem. This is a very, very big problem, because while on one hand, you know full well that the bozos in the establishment that aren't telling these things are full of doogie schnauzer, okay? They're full of it. But the flip side is you look over here at the people you want to be partnered up with and hanging out with and locking arms with, and you realize that if they don't have the answer to something, they'll just go ahead and make it up, unfortunately. So we've got a real situation here where we got known liars on one hand, and then we got people over here that are afraid to say, I don't know the answer, but I'm willing to figure it out. And we don't have anyone in there really, really driving the ship to make these sorts of bold changes happen, except within the MMT community. And as you look, the only adults really in the room come from the MMT community. They stay very, very focused on the issues. They stay very, very focused on the operational realities that will make those issues come to fruition. Every one of these situations you see, what you have is people that have taken the time to dig in and learn. that don't allow identity politics to throw them off kilter, that don't allow the stories of the day to change the direction of the conversation. No, they understand full well that no matter what the day's headlines say, no matter what is going on in the public space, that deep down inside, the only way we're getting a new deal, the only way that people will be taken care of, is if somebody doesn't allow the shiny objects of the current events to distract them. Now, there's plenty of stuff out there like Donald Trump's trade war. What the hell is this all about, right? This is about protectionism. And a lot of that protectionism is born in really, really bad economics. The idea that the United States should somehow or another be a net exporter, and that somehow or another, our exports should be our primary mode of funding our nation's economy, et cetera. And that's just old fool's gold. That is just not grounded in good quality economics. This is neoclassical economics that makes us believe that the only way we can make money is in a capitalistic environment where we spend the money and we buy the things and then we sell the things and then we get the money. They don't realize where the money comes from to begin with. And so the entire narrative that they tell is misleading. And so as we go through these political escapades and these charades that we see as elections, you got the people coming up, and what do? They have to counter Trump's narrative. And naturally, because they're not really countering the real narrative, they're countering the theatrical narrative that's in play. What they end up doing is they end up trying to solve the very, very wrong problem. They solve the wrong problem, and they talk about the wrong things, and they further distract the people. And the people end up, because God knows, you've got to vote blue no matter who, and you've got to support the narrative. And, oh, you're just a splitter. You're a splitter. This is the new thing. You're a splitter. It's actually not a new thing. It's been going on forever. They called Nader a splitter. They called Jill a splitter, and they call anybody else that's not towing the vote blue line a splitter. The reality is the vote blue line has no compass. There is no compass in there except for the MMT compass. And the MMTers that are in the Democratic Party are doing God's work inside that cesspool. Okay. Now, it's real easy to throw the baby out with the bathwater because these people make it so damn easy just to say, oh my God, no effing way am I dealing with you. But realize that my party, if you will, is the MMT party. Even though there is no MMT party, the MMT party is the party that I support. And I follow the people that are doing God's work, and they're working their butts off and behind the scenes. They're putting real policies together, real meaningful policies together that actually help the people. This federal job guarantee stuff that you hear Cory Booker talking about, and now you got Ro Khanna coming out with some other neoliberal ACA-like job sort of guarantee that's not a guarantee, that is just destined to fail. Those people, the only reason why they're even coming out with a job guarantee is because Bernie came out with a job guarantee saying he'd support one. And you've got Kelton, and you've got Trineva, and you've got Fidel Kaboub, and you've got the whole band of people that are working diligently from the Modern Money Network, you name it, advancing through folks like the Justice Democrats, which is tough to pill to swallow for some of you all, but they are literally hearing Alexandria Ocasio, lady that is really rocking the house in New York City. She's advancing the job guarantee. And so you've got people out there that are really, truly running on a real platform. Forget the party. Look at the platform, right? Well, I'm bringing this up because real progressives, we support policies, right? We support education. We support the people knowing and being empowered to make change in their government, to make change in their lives, to alter the way we view the world. We don't just sit there and go vote blue or vote green or vote whatever. We don't do that. In fact, we don't care. We're here to educate one and educate all. And that includes Republicans and LOL Libertarians. Okay. So when you look at this is the midterms now, right? And we've got plenty of opportunity to look back at Donald Trump, and we've got plenty of opportunity to say, my God, what an idiot this man is. Just a sham, right? This is the easy, low-hanging fruit that you see so prevalent in the movement today. You see these folks, it's all they focus on, man. Every group you go to, it's got another comb over of Donald Trump. It's got just bullshit in a chef's salad. And the reality is that most people lap that crap up. They lap it up. Now, if we started doing videos of me, with those Oakley frog, mirrors, the golfing glasses with a Make America Great Again or a camouflage hat and an AR-15 strapped to my back and walking around with, in like a compound, man, we get views out the wazoo because everybody wants to feel like they're part of something big, right? They want to be in the big trucks and they want to be with the big guns and they want to hang out with the homies and they want to drink a beer. They want to talk about God and Jesus and they want to talk about the family pet. This is what we're up against right now, the distractigons, right? We've got this social wave going through, and much of that social wave is based in scarcity. It's based in people not understanding that there's enough to go around, okay? So these folks are out there defending the home turf. They got the AR-15 strap and they're ready to protect the border. They're all up on it, right? They're patting each other on the back. We got to take America back. Take it back from who? The neoliberals? Who are we taking America back from? So again, it's these low info storylines, these low info, low, engagement required kind of storylines that serve almost as entertainment as much as they do actual news. Okay. And so these folks literally sit there and distract once again. And it's all based, all of it is based in thinking that they have to keep this little scarce thing right here to themselves and prevent them foreigners or prevent anyone else from getting a piece of it. Okay. The political parties are just about power. They want to keep their power. They'll say whatever it takes to get elected and they don't care. But for us, we recognize that the scarcity is a lie. It's a false narrative that both the Republicans and Democrats pitch. The Green Party's even guilty of pitching it as well. LOL libertarians being libertarians, they believe it as well. They want you to stay the hell out of their backyard. They want you to stay off their property. They want to be able to dam their water and they want to be able to have whatever personal property they can amass. They don't care. They just leave me alone, right? So this is the ongoing narratives. And all that stuff is so easy to get distracted by. You got to pick it up, forklift it, dump it off to the corner, and stay focused on the truth, because the truth is we have more than enough to go around. People are very, very upset, and rightfully so, at the apartheid state of Israel. Israel is an easy target. They've been really, really out there, very, very aggressively expanding their borders and defending their borders and trying to make their monotheist approach to nation building the one and only way. And because of that, the Palestinians live in squalor and they are really, really just destitute. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of storylines to go around about this, so I don't want to get too deep into it, but that's not the point. The point is that we always concern ourselves with our tax dollars going to Israel. And so because of tax dollars not going anywhere, they're deleted, that whole concept, ends up perverting yet again another foreign story, a story that about us, our involvement in the world. And so we end up perverting just about every single issue on the table based in a false narrative that starts all the way back at economics. It's a terrible thing because economics is also just about as boring as watching grass grow or paint dry. We all know we need the money. We all know we need money to buy our food, to pay our electric, to pay our house note, pay our student loans. God knows why they're there, but we know we need it. And you look around and you say, money is in every aspect of our life. I want a soda. I drop $1 in the machine, or $2 as it were nowadays. I want to go ahead and get to the movie theater. Well, shit, I got to get gas in my car, go to the movie theater. Oh God, I got to pay for the movie. Oh man, I'd like some popcorn and a soda. So all of a sudden, bam, I'm paying more money. Money is the one thing that we all need, because money is a way we, split up all the resources that are out there. That's how we divide it up. And that's why income inequality is such a dangerous thing. So when we look at this, you go back to, Friar Tuck and the gang down there guarding the border, trying to keep the Mexicans out, et cetera. They're trying to keep it out because, damn it, all right, we got scarce resources and we can't handle any more people coming. We got to take care of our veterans. We got to take care of our veterans. Well, how do you think you take care of your veterans, brother? First things first, why not stop having wars? But second thing, you pay for them. You give them services. You give them health care, right? Well, how do you give them health care? Is that, if it's scarce, how do we give them health care? How do we enhance the VA? How do we make life better for them? I don't know. How do we do it? I think it's going to come down to money, though. I'm pretty sure it's going to come down to money. I'm damn sure it's going to come down to money. It's not because we can't provide it. So why do we allow this lie to continue? And why do people tell us to vote blue no matter who, when the people that they're putting up there don't understand this either? You get a bunch of well-meaning dodos that can't freaking politic their way out of a paper bag. And you have a population that has been so lulled to sleep by bad headlines and really pathetic television, even worse infotainment called news, and they don't understand any better. So let's say we saw free and clear elections, man. Let's say that we nailed that out of the park. Let's say we got rid of the Diebold machines, got rid of black box voting, just made it all paper ballots and made it so that everybody could vote that wanted to vote. How many people do you think in the United States today would run out there thinking that we have to balance the federal budget? How many people do you think would run out there today thinking that we've got to reduce spending or reduce the deficit? How many people do you think would go out there right now ready to vote for the person who is fiscally responsible? How many people do you think would run out there and vote for some jingoistic asshole that's ready to go start a war? I'm telling you right now, friends, it isn't all in the voting. Sometimes it's in the education. And that's what we preach here, because you can't be an ignorant voter and make a difference. Let's say, again, the system isn't fucked up. It isn't rigged. It isn't whatever. You got it all figured out. But the citizenry is still screwing it up, right? The citizenry is still pounding out the nonsense. They're still fighting over Trump's comb over. They're still fighting to see Donald Trump's tax returns. They're still out there wanting to go ahead and wear their pussy hats and put their fist in the air and get nowhere, bleed off the energy and change nothing. No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. An informed movement of people, the 99%. And when you say 99%, we're not talking about 99% of independents that are no longer Democrat. We're talking about the 99% that includes Republicans too, right? I mean, when you start talking about the population and you start talking about like the voting body, you're talking about everyone. People don't come in with a big red R on their forehead or a big giant blue on their forehead. Maybe the boneheads with the pork pie hats do. But the rest of us, we don't. You know a person by their stripes once they open their yap. That's for sure. And you can kind of tell what they're wearing. The hat says "Make America Great Again." You pretty much know that they mean make America a friggin' hellhole again. But bottom line is that we are living in a hell right now. We're living in a time where we can't take a day off from work. We can't tend to our families. We can't go on vacation. We can't enjoy a good meal. We can't eat healthy. We're eating terrible foods full of hormones, growth hormones, and we're fat as hell. We're a fat nation and we're fat by design. The crap that we eat is full of preservatives and garbage. It's not even food anymore. Why is that? Scarcity. We're trying to make a buck. We're turning things in. We're not focused on the issues. We're vote blue no matter who, and we're vote red no matter what, and we're all the other bullshit team sports crap. But these people, when you talk to them, they are literally not listening to you. I'm not joking. They have already tuned you out because the only thing they want to talk about is getting progressives elected in the midterms of 2018. But to me, I say a progressive has to understand how to pay for their programs. If a progressive doesn't know how to pay for their programs and they're busy talking about reducing the deficit, if they're busy talking about lowering the national debt, or worrying about China and the debt, or worried about the petrodollar, or worried about the BRICS, or worried about any of this other crap, instead of focusing on learning what we can do domestically and what our strength and power is with a sovereign fiat currency. To me, it's like voting for a Republican. It's like voting for nothing. It's like, peeing in the wind, To me, somebody that doesn't understand this is just another broken promise. It's just another letdown. It's just another proof positive that lefties can't get out of their own way. And it's not because the left doesn't have some great ideas. They do. They have marvelous ideas. They just don't understand economics. They're into moralization, just like Republicans are about abortion. They're into moralization about economics. They don't realize at the end of the day that we are a state currency, that we have a state-based system. And the reason why we tax is to drive the need for that currency. So they want to go out there and raise taxes to pay for things. And they think that this is a winning strategy. And you know what? Politically, it might just be. But when those politicians get into office and they're sitting there on Capitol Hill, and when they're in the Senate, or when they're in the state houses, etc., and they can't do anything useful, they're always talking about how the Republicans block their bill. Ro Khanna coming out here with this crap jobs guarantee program that he put out. There's a great write-up in The Intercept by Kate Aronoff. And this program really stinks. And, the MMTers looked at it and they said, don't call this a job guarantee. It's not a job guarantee. There's a lot of stipulations. There's a lot of crap. It's like the ACA. But this is going to pass as quote unquote progressive, and it's not. This is no slam on Ro Khanna. I'm sure he's a decent guy. I met him a couple of times. He's a nice guy. But question is, why is he not taking a bold stance? Why is he cutting the negotiations off halfway through before he even gets out there and shows what a real job guarantee could do? And I'm telling you right now, it's because the electorate and the existing politicians don't understand economics. It's it. If they understood economics, you wouldn't have these problems. But they don't. And so guess who suffers? We do. We all do. I watch this, and I'm not afraid to punch anybody. I try really hard lately. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I've tried to dial down some of the bombastic approach. It's there still, but I try to dial it down because I recognize that the people that already get the suffering of the suffering, they're already there. I hope they don't lose faith if I tone it down a little bit, because the people that are privileged, the privileged people, okay, they don't like to hear your suffering too loudly. It bothers them. It unsettles their life. They don't like it. It's crass. It's not good it's not decent in public. You should suffer silently in your private place, in your little prayer closet. Suffer there and pray to God and ask him for help. But the reality is, we have the power to fix this. This is not something that God himself has to do. This is something that humanity has to do for itself. And humanity has taken the path of least resistance and has chosen to not pay attention, has chosen to put the cotton in their ears instead of in their mouths, and has chosen to just go with the vote blue no matter who strategy, or got to elect progressives, got to elect them. I don't care if they know MMT, got to elect them. And I'm telling you right now, friends, I will be there and I will be looking at people, the people that push that narrative. And if things don't get done, I'm not looking at the politician. I'm really not. I'm looking at them. And I'm looking at them and I'm wondering, do you know what you did? Do you understand? The people must understand how vital this is. Without this knowledge, without understanding that the federal government not only can never go broke, but is the wellspring from which all dollars begin. Until they get that, until they get that Congress has the power and the constitutional mandate to spend on the public purpose and the people, okay? The general welfare. Until they grasp that, until they grok that, okay? We don't stand a chance. And it doesn't matter if we put well-meaning progressives up there that are resistant to learning economics or a bunch of teabaggers that have no interest whatsoever in anything. We're always going to be fighting against ourselves because we're going to be like shooting crabs in a barrel. Right now, as we speak, we're getting ready for the 2018 elections. And there are very, very few progressives out there who are actually digging in and learning, who are actually fighting the good fight. They're falling into the vote blue no matter who mindset. Our revolution has been slow on the take for endorsing many of these candidates. And the candidates that they have endorsed, I look at them, ask them. I guarantee it. Start a campaign. Start asking these candidates, do you understand how federal financing works? I mean, really, do you? Can we count on you to fight tooth and nail against a balanced budget amendment or against any kind of nonsense about reducing debt or deficits? Can we count on you not to be an economic illiterate? These are questions that I just don't see people asking. I don't. Think about this for real. When the Republicans, and this is the thing that we never remember. We always sit there in our own little cocoons and our own little echo chambers. And, we glad hand each other and talk about a resource-based economy. We talk about all these other things. And then we forget, holy shit, the Republicans just won the presidency, right, wrong, or indifferent, no matter how you slice this. There is enough people out there that'll vote crazy. And there's enough people out there still voting for the duopoly, still voting for candidates that are establishment hacks, that are literally not in any way, shape, or form advancing the public purpose. And what do you think is going to come from that? What do you think is going to come from that? For real. You're going to end up newspaper out, reading it. Yep. God damn, it looks about the same as last year. Look at your annual memories from last year, the same time last year. Now, I don't know about you, but my memories look frighteningly similar to this year's because the same issues keep coming up and keep coming up and keep coming up. So when people tell me to vote blue no matter who, but they don't want to take the time to learn economics, I say, to hell with you. I don't have a lot of room in my heart for somebody trying to, higher ground me for just vote for Team Blue. If you want to treat here, if you want to, parlay, I'm looking for somebody who really wants to make change. Now, I'm not talking, it doesn't have to be that radical. Honest to God, so much of what's in place is just a matter of perception. If you just understand that Congress spends and we have programs and it passes, that's a big start, right? That's a huge start. I never, ever understand why. Maybe you all can help me. Maybe you can help me here. Why is it that when we spend money on bombs and we spend money on tanks and planes, why is it you never hear a single progressive talk about devaluing the dollar? Why is it you never hear a single progressive talk about the fear of inflation? Why is it you never hear Republicans or Democrats or progressives talk about, oh no, the bricks when we go ahead and make these bombs? Why is it that you never hear anything about affordability or anything like that? But folks, the minute that you sit there and you tell me that you are going to, in any way, shape, or form, spend on the people, then you immediately get these cries for, hey, what about my dollar? You're devaluing my dollar. I mean, I've shown this picture 1,000 times. This picture right here is gold. It's one of the very few memes that I keep, nonstop. Because this meme right here tells you straight up, we can afford anything. The government cannot go broke on debt denominated in its own currency. And foreign exchange doesn't count as debt. We're just changing dollars to rubles or euros or whatever, right? I mean, ultimately, progressives have got to get smarter. You know what? I demand progressives be smarter. I do. If not us, who? If not now, when, right? But there we are. There's this laundry list right here that I think any progressive would stand for. Any progressive should easily be able to stand for. But then you get somebody saying, well, if we spend that money on the people, doesn't that money end up eventually going to wealthy people? Some of it. Well, we don't want that. Well, I don't want people dying from a lack of health care either. So who's going to win this battle? Well, we got to raise taxes then. Well, so you're not going to let the people get health care first, right? Well, homie, do taxes fund spending? Yes or no? Quickly. Nope, no cheating. Do taxes at the federal level actually pay for any of these programs? Yo, eyes up here. Do taxes actually fund programs? Simple question. Yes or no? No. The answer is unequivocally no, they don't. They do not. And so the next question, typically from somebody is going to say, well, then why am I paying taxes? Now, that's a good question first time you say it. First time you say it, that everybody's got that question, right? I mean, I had that question. Why the hell are we paying taxes then, damn it? So you oftentimes hear the same progressives saying, well, these pieces of paper, they ain't worth nothing. It's just nothing. It's not worth a damn thing. Well, the piece of paper itself is not worth a damn thing. Maybe a couple pennies or whatever it costs to create that dollar. But most dollars aren't paper. Most dollars are digital. So how much did it cost to make a digital dollar? I don't know. Well, how much did it cost for a dude to take his nub and hit the number on the keypad? I don't know. Not much. Like fractions of a cent, maybe? Not even? Whatever his salary is or her salary is? Okay, maybe. But why do you think? Why do you think people would rather chase taxes instead of help the people first? Right? If I was a mathematician and I was doing algebra and I was trying to make kids do a proof, here's a theory, here's a proof. Go ahead and do the show your work, right? I would have a equation that looks something like this. People and planet first. Second, I would have raise taxes. You know what I'm saying? 1A, 1B, save the people, save the planet. 2, raise taxes. There's no reason to hijack programs for taxes because taxes are literally deleted at the federal level, right? Our money is driven by the need to have it. We have to have dollars because we have to pay our taxes in dollars. I've said this many times, but our dollar, the value that it is derived is based in the government being the monopoly issuer of the currency and the price setter, as Warren Mosler says. So if that's the case, if the government is the price setter, if the government is the monopoly issuer of the dollar, and they have agents, banks are public agents, even though they serve very, very nefarious purposes right now because Congress has failed to regulate the banks. In fact, they've been rolling back regulations even more. But it's not the other way around. Think about that for a minute. If taxes drive the need for currency, how much taxation's enough? We're probably way overtaxed right now for the services that we're actually getting, right? They've taken more money out of the economy than they need to take out of the economy. But the reality is that anytime you place taxation at the forefront of a program, you immediately bring in new enemy combatants into the mix. When you say, hey, we're going to go ahead and pass Medicare for all in a bipartisan fashion, and we're not going to raise taxes, we're actually going to reduce taxes because enacting Medicare for all would be deflationary. What deflationary? What do you mean, Steve? Well, it's efficient. A lot of less, totally chaotic non-efficiency creates a lot of economic transactions, right? There's a lot of economics going on there. But when you make it efficient, when you take away the red tape is jobs, isn't it? Red tape is, job security. It's job security. It ain't health security, but it's job security. So why in the world would people want to raise taxes to get Medicare for all? Why is that? Why do you suppose that is? I obviously we know it's that people don't understand, but there are people out there that do understand, and many of them are in high places. And I don't have very favorable things to say about them at the moment. And I try to have some compassion for the regular people who don't understand this, who just run around carping and saying whatever it is that they've heard from their favorite politician. But our lives right now are dependent on us understanding that taxes do not fund spending. Our planet is dependent on us getting this as well, because you're going to stop any passage of bills no matter what. We could have the best bill ever, but they're going to put the pay-fors in there. They're going to try to make it something that has to be paid for with taxation. And with that in mind, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to fail. And wash, rinse, repeat. Election time comes, and what are they going to do? The Republicans stopped Medicare for all. The Republicans stopped the federal job guarantee. The Republicans stopped the infrastructure bill. The Republicans stopped the education bill. The Republicans stopped student debt elimination. The Republicans are Republicans are Republicans. And the Republicans do suck. Let me just be real clear. I don't want anybody to confuse what I'm saying here. They're just an abomination. But sometimes things are within our control to fix. And saying ridiculously ignorant economics that mislead the people and keep them from uniting and keep them from rising up and making demands, well, that's downright criminal, isn't it? That's downright criminal. When they understand that we can have great things, we could end poverty. We could end unemployment forever. If people want a job, we could give them a job through a federal job guarantee, federally funded, locally administered. We could provide a national health care service that includes dental care. We could do it. No problem. We could provide free college for all the way through doctorate and not have any restrictions. Hey, maybe it's good jurisprudence or maybe it's good policy to put some guardrails up because there is scarce resources, right? We don't have enough teachers, maybe. Maybe we don't have enough doctors. Maybe we don't have enough gurneys and enough x-ray machines. Maybe we don't have enough hospitals. So that's a real constraint, right? If we put a program out there that we don't have the resources for to keep up with, well, that's going to cause shortages. That's going to cause long waits. That's going to cause all the horror stories that you hear the Republicans wax poetic about and the other Wall Street Dems that like to slow play us out of anything useful. But the reality is that taxes are not the issue here. They shouldn't be. It's about whether or not we have the labor available to do the work, the raw materials to build or replace or do whatever we're trying to do. And quite frankly, we have all that in spades. You know, when the world says the U.S. is the richest country on the planet, what does that even mean? Does it mean we have more U.S. dollars than the rest of the planet? Well, shit, we create them at will. So that can't be what they're talking about, right? Now, if you tell me we are the richest country in the world because we have the most access to natural resources, I'm not a geologist. I'm not, I don't have that quantification done, so I can't answer that. But I would buy that more so than I would buy that we have more paper dollars than anyone else in the world. You know, what determines the richest country? Are they talking about we have the most billionaires? We have the most trillionaires? Whatever. You know, we have the most rich dudes and dudettes? Okay, maybe. But that doesn't really equal anything, right? That's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about people in general. I think I hear my son upstairs at the door banging away on the cat door. Yeah, there he is. Anyway, I think it's really important that we understand that taxes are a tool. They're an economic tool. They're a lever. They're like a brake in your car. Hey, there's a stop sign up ahead. Maybe I ought to slow down. Maybe I ought to put my foot on the brake. Maybe I ought to raise taxes a little bit because it looks like the economy is overheating. But it's not to pay for something, okay? It's not to pay for something. Now, where people get confused, and this is a good learning opportunity here, right? Where people get confused is they look over and they say, well, state A lowered their taxes and they don't have any services now. The people don't have schools, they don't have books, they don't have good roads, they don't have whatever. And so states, because they're not monetarily sovereign, they're not a currency issuer, states are heavily dependent on tax revenues. Okay. Well, how do states get tax revenues? Well, you got to have commerce going on in your state. You've got to have whatever schematic you've built for your state, whether it be through sales tax or land value tax or income tax or, gas taxes, whatever. This is how you get your pay. And, whether it be fining people on the streets, speeding tickets, jaywalking, whatever they do in poor communities where they try and gouge the local poor people of money through fines and whatnot so that they can go ahead and keep their police department lights on. Okay. All this stuff people see and they say, yeah, man, this is what happens when you cut taxes, man. Taxes are what gives us these nice things. You want nice things. Taxes are the price of living in civilized society, right? And at a state level, that would be true unless you get funding elsewhere, right? Where else might a state be able to get funding or a territory like Puerto Rico? Where might they get money from? Might it be from the currency issuing federal government? Maybe. Well, it's only going to happen when the politicians feel the heat from the people because they've learned and they've united and they've risen up and they've demanded no more poison water in Flint, Michigan. No more destruction in Puerto Rico. We rebuild it now. We have the money. We can do it. Marshal those resources and rebuild that island. But these vote blue sycophants, just vote blue. Just vote blue no matter who. I don't need to know all that crazy economic stuff. It's not as much fun as just vote blue, vote Summer, vote for Pedro. You know? Hey, I'll have golf pep rallies. Yay! Hey, can we go to the local coffee shop and have a meet and greet? I'm going to get my skinny quad venti white mocha. And no. It's got to be soy. Yeah. Yeah. No, folks, the federal government, so much of our debates would get boring if we learned economics. Do you realize how boring politics could get if we actually understood economics? We could take the excitement factor right out of these stupid debates. We could take the excitement factor out of the news because we ultimately know the federal government can afford a job guarantee. Right now, everybody that wants a job could have one now with a good paying living wage and benefits to boot. No more rotten teeth, baby. You don't have the money for a root canal? Don't worry about it. It's part of being a human being. I was about to say citizen, but I don't really care. I want people to be well. Do we want to just live this life where you're constantly looking over your shoulder, waiting for the axe to fall, where you're wondering if your skills are outdated to the point where you literally have no future, you're economically not viable? Do we want to create the falling down narrative, to be the dude with the bad glasses and the short sleeve white shirt, leaving their car in the middle of the LA Expressway and walking out and sacking up with a bag of guns, ready to off somebody at some local school or some local business or some politician's office or whatever? That's what this doomsday narrative that we keep preaching because we're uneducated. Boy, I wanted to say something more powerful there. I really, really wanted to light one up there. Whew. The elbow of truth had a little bit of a pillow on it right there. Because when I see people in jail and I see people leading alternative lifestyles, when I say that, I'm talking about murdering people out in the real world for pay, or they're selling their body without regard for their health, or they're going out there and using drugs just to survive a day. And I see us look down our nose at them like, look at that scum. Look at those losers. What are they using? Their food stamps. Why did they get crab meat? That's not allowed on the food stamp program. Looking over, see what they're doing. When I see that shit, oh, damn it, I get really pissed off. I do. And I've experienced a lot of this pain in my own life. So I always got to remember the tone police. They don't want to hear your pain. They don't want to know you really suffer. They don't really want to know what the actual fallout is from bad economics. They don't want to know what the fallout is for demanding for a constitutional convention that would actually open the door for the GOP to pass a balanced budget amendment. Oh, it isn't just the GOP. It's those other vote blue conservative garbage candidates that they want us to just rubber stamp and vote in. I would love to be able to nonstop vote for independents and green parties and you name it. But ask them, one by one, candidate by candidate, if you hear them talking about myths and legends, you know they're not going to be any use to you in office. If you hear them talking about nonsense and they want to be elected to represent you, what the hell are we doing, folks? We've got to educate each other. We've got to educate each other. We cannot keep allowing these party people to herd us into the freaking, herd us in and pop us off like a cow, man. We got to start saying no. We got to teach one another now. We have got to raise the bar. You can't have a revolution and have it mean anything if you don't have a clue where you're trying to go to. Look around. Look around. These people don't care. They're not listening. You can say it sweetly and they'll just ignore you. You can say it harsh and they'll go, he's a toxic narcissist. He's just a toxic white male, cis white male. You say it calmly, you say it sweetly, you say it, rah. What do they do? Well, I'll give that a 6 out of 10 on delivery, but I don't like his eyebrows, really. Quite frankly, his eyebrows give me the heebie-jeebies. Do you see those eyes? So you're left being like uber academic, where you're like, well, actually, Chauncey, let me tell you about this. Mm-hmm. And by the time you're done, nobody really understood what you said. You said a lot of things, not a lot of people understood. Or if you try and speak to the people at the bottom who are suffering, they don't vote, unfortunately. Many of them don't vote. So you're left with that soft, squishy middle that can't handle any kind of pain in their life. They can't handle anybody being harsh. They can't handle anybody telling the truth. They just want to hear it's all going to be okay and I can still get my quad venti white mocha and nobody's going to bother me. But yeah, I really want to help poverty. I really want to help poverty. Well, show me. Don't tell me, dude. Show me. Prove it. Crack a book. Crack the spine on a book. Read. Watch the videos. Learn MMT. But what do we get? That's not what's going on, folks. And so here we are. We've got Donald Trump. People aren't even able to assess whether Trump is doing good or bad because all they do is run with the narrative pumped out of the other side. Trump bad. Damn good. Trump bad. Trump is bad. He's terrible. But if you're just saying Trump bad, like bam, 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 bam. Trump bad. And if all you're talking about is his tweets, stuff like that, and that gets hundreds, if not thousands of likes. Oh, wow. Such a sage thought leader. He talked about Donald Trump's comb over. My God, I'll follow you into the pits of hell. Wherever you want to lead me, I will follow because my goodness, you are witty with a tweet. This is why it is so important, regardless of rigged elections, regardless of voting problems. And we've got to solve all these things. Please do not take what I'm saying as I don't care about those things. I care very much. For those of you who have paid attention at all, you'll understand that Real Progressives does have 7 knowledge areas we plan to fully develop into policy positions and be able to teach those things and take out to the world and activate on and then provide media coverage, etc. And one of those knowledge areas is democracy, which is directly focused on getting people into the booths, being able to make voting easier for them and making sure there's integrity in the elections. So before someone tells me that, oh, there's more to life than learning MMT, well, you can say that Steve said, He agrees. Now shush and learn MMT, because you fixing elections and being duller than a spoon about economics isn't going to help us either. Okay? Okay. So as we go forward, I'm asking each one of you guys to question your candidates. Question the party people that you talk to. Question your friends on Facebook. Question the media personalities that are afraid to touch this because they don't understand and they don't want to be bothered. Okay? They have the greatest opportunity in the world to make change, but they don't want to be bothered. Make them be bothered. Make them learn. Make them pay attention. It's kind of like, you hate to use the abusive thing that you see people do. Bad dog owners shove their dog's nose in their poop. Dog's like, yeah, I know I pooped. Of course I pooped. You wouldn't let me out. I had to take a dump. I did it. Sorry. Okay. But you kind of want to make these media people shove it down into the poop so that they take the time to look at it instead of just blowing it off like a full cup thinking they got all the answers. Make them look. Make them take the freaking hood up on the car and look inside. Make them understand, because they have a role to play. They have a big role to play in making sure the population is capable of making wise decisions, of being able to activate on these key things. Now, you ask me if we're going to have a revolution, and I'll be the first one to tell you, probably not. Probably not. And for so many reasons, probably not. The people themselves are too freaking comfortable with the way things are. They are. They love it, man. Just ask most of these progressives that want to talk about the gold standard and talk about my value of my dollar and talk about foreign exchange and talk about all this other gibberish about BRICS and, well, China's going to a gold standard with the Brexit. They want to talk about all these things. They don't want to talk about saving the people's lives here in America. They want to talk about nonsense. Okay. We got a lot of work to do. We got an awful lot of work to do to teach people the truth. And these media personalities, they have a tremendous role to play here. They have got to learn MMT, and not the bastardized version of it, not the one that the jackholes say. Okay, we need them to understand point blank the United States government doesn't back its entire economy on the petrodollar. They need to know that the United States government can't go broke. They need to know that we, the people, can force our federal government to fund the states, that we can have the federal government bail out Puerto Rico without any issue at all. And that for the sales pitch to the conservative folks, when you help the people on the bottom, the money does trickle to the top as opposed to the other way around. You give the people on the bottom the opportunity to save money, to prevent bad things from happening on a rainy day, to have that slush fund that they can live on, to be able to set aside a few bucks to go ahead and buy a new car, or to go ahead and go on a family vacation, or to go for a much needed trip to the ER and not go bankrupt over it, or to be able to get that bridge put in their mouth because their teeth rotted out while we were waiting for people to learn economics. We have a responsibility here. It's time to step up to it. Time to step up to it. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a great night.